Good, the right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Tour Football Podcast. I am your host, Dana OG. I haven't been here for a minute. I feel like I'm completely out of the loop of this. But I hope everyone had a great holiday. All four of us are here today. I'm super excited about that. I didn't put it out there because, like I said to these guys before the show started, every time I say all four of us are going to be here, Lisa has a goat escape or something to that effect. So I didn't want to put it out there to the fam. But welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you are here with us again. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for letting us take last week off. I'm getting over a cold, so if I sound a little funny, please forgive. But before we get started, we got to thank Donkeys. I cannot believe the season's over on Sunday. Donkeys Cheesesteaks has been our sponsor for 3 seasons now. We are so grateful to them. 3 locations in New Jersey. You have Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. But also, you can go to goldbelly.com. Type in Donkey's Place cheesesteaks. It pops right up, and you can have it shipped anywhere in the country overnight.
Yum.
It is fantastic. So check them out if you guys would. Donkeys, again, thank you so much for your sponsorship. Okay, we have so much to get into, and it's going to be long, people.
Let's do it.
Buckle up, Buttercup. So let's go ahead and start. When I put out there to these guys, what did you want to discuss? Sonia was like, I'm in, and I want to talk about the Lions. And I assumed it was going to be about the ref job, which we are going to talk about. Apparently, she wants to talk about a couple of other things. First of all, Sonia, how was your holidays?
It was busy, but it was good. We had a great time. The grandkids made breakfast for the grandparents, and they just started a new tradition. So I hope they're aware of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, so good. All right. Well, honey, if you ask anyone on Twitter, your Lions got jobbed.
Yeah, I mean they did, and honestly, it's something that happens all the time to this team, and a couple of old players, Yield Golden Tate and Kyle Van Noy, referenced the playoff game not playoff game, but the game in like 2015, I think, where they threw the flag for a pass interference and then picked it right back up. So yeah, the Lions are no stranger to controversy, especially in Dallas. However, I'm gonna have to take a pause on this one, and y'all can yell at me. I don't care. Take the rest out of the game and kick that damn extra point, or go for the points, y'all. Go for the points.
Yes.
I was tweeting you guys, or I was texting you guys, and I was just like, "What? Why did he not go for the points there?" Like, it's just as easy as going for the points. And then, yes, it would still would have kind of been a little bit controversial at the end, but you still would have had those extra 2 points, and you wouldn't have had to do all that. So that's my take on the whole situation. Dan Campbell, I love him, and I'm so proud. He does. He's got balls of steel, and I'm so proud that he's got this team playing the way he has. One mental mistake, what else? But at least he's kind of like standing up and taking the L for it in a way. But at the same time, the refs kind of did do a screw job to the Lions, which we know always kind of happens, but part of a bigger picture, I think, there too. But
oh, sorry, Sonia, you muted. What'd you say?
I said, take the points, guys.
Take the points. And we did talk about that quite a bit. We talked about how it was so obvious so early in the game to all of us. You take the 3 points. You don't go after. And I know he's super aggressive, and I know that, he likes doing that sort of thing, but honest to God, that just was not the time in that game. That was not the time to do it. It was interesting. I do want to talk about these refs a little bit though, because Kate, these refs have a history of having some issues this year. And I think that what's interesting about it is they turned around and put them right back on national television this coming Sunday as they are reffing the Steelers-Ravens game, which is a huge game too.
So three games were flexed this weekend because they have huge playoff implications. Mm-hmm. They are all 3 AFC matchups. We have 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday night. And one of those games is Baltimore-Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has to win this game, and we'll talk about playoff scenarios. And Baltimore is wavering on whether or not guys are going to rest, right? Lamar's had some issues in the first round of the playoffs. He's blamed it on rust and that 2 weeks off and taking time. And so who knows what's going to happen. But this game is super important, and you've put arguably the worst refereeing crew on a game, and it's the only game in its time slot, which means everyone's going to be watching it, right? Like you're saying, these guys aren't going to get a playoff game now, and they're going to be disciplined, and then you put them on a game that everybody's going to get. I don't know. I don't feel a lot of sincerity from the people that run the NFL officiating crews when they do something like this. You have plenty of other options for crews to put on this game. You have plenty of other games you could have put them on. There are some games that have zero playoff implications. You could have put them on one of those games and they could just do what they want to do. So I'm mind boggled as to how the decision was made to put them on, in my opinion, one of the three biggest games of the weekend.
Oh, without question. Without question. Yeah, but they did it. And it's interesting is the NFL, it's like they admonished them, they punished them, but then they gave them the limelight again. It's baffling to me. Lisa, I heard a great conversation today on Sirius XM NFL Radio about the ref situation, what you can do about it. Lots of people were calling in saying, do you make them full time? Do you do this? And apparently the NFL tried to make the refs full-time once before, and a whole bunch of them quit because they did not want to have, they didn't want to have that responsibility. The refs did not. So they came up with a very interesting idea that they thought would be kind of the cure of this, is to have the head ref, the guy who runs the whole crew, right? Have them sit eye in the sky. Have the rest of your team down below. The head guy is full-time year-round. The guys on the field necessarily wouldn't be. And then they literally oversee nothing but the job of what the ref is doing. And then they can be like, hey, we need to review this. Hey, you did this wrong. You've missed so many of these. You were off the line this far. I thought it was interesting. It seems a little Big Brotherish because one would assume and hope that all the refs on the ground are just as trained as the other guy. But it does kind of give a little more ownership back to the group. What is your thoughts? And if you don't agree with that, what do they do?
Well, it's hard because now, and we're going to hit a show on it with all the gambling aspects of it. And you have to kind of consider that about a full time, because that puts so much more pressure, because gambling is such a $1 billion thing added on to this. And let's take that Lions play, for example. Let's have the big brother in the sky, like you said. Okay. Clearly we see video of the two guys approaching him. Then we have the NFL's explanation. He's got a lot of things going on. He's got the clock. He's got this. What down is it? He's trying to get this guy. So to me, the explanation was almost like horseshit, because it's like, okay, you see both the guys approach you. You see the guy do this. And at the same time, you have to be kind of careful, because you don't want to give the defense a heads up. You want to try to keep low key of who's eligible and who's not. Right. I mean, you want to try to go to the ref. And apparently now all the stories are coming out, like Dan Campbell said, of, we told the refs this might be one of the plays we call, to keep a heads up. Both I'll have two people eligible, stuff like that. So to me, okay, visually, you and I are the eye in the sky. We see them approach us, but we can't hear them. Right.
You can. All the refs are mic'd.
Yep.
So it's like, at this point, how much time are you going to need to go back to listen? Yep. How much time is it going to take? God, you're going to add so many minutes to the game.
Right. And that was one of the arguments against it, Lisa, is that then it adds this much more time. And
it does.
I think that we have to, A, remember that they're human, and B, watch for patterns. And we are going to do a show about gambling in the NFL period, because this is really the first crazed year of it. And what I always said, it's just going to take some bigwig who's going to lose a lot of money on a bad call from a ref that's going to change.
That's
the
what
league.
Me too.
But we're going to do a little bit longer show, kind of more toward the end of the season. We have a little more time, not as many games to talk about, that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that. Sonia, I want to get back to, do you have something, Kate?
Well, just for me, there's two things, right? There's, I don't care if it takes a little extra time. I want them to get it right.
Agreed.
This isn't baseball with 162 games. You have 17 games.
Yeah.
And these are game-altering decisions that are now playoff-altering decisions. What happened there doesn't just affect the seeding for the Cowboys and the Lions, right? The Lions now may not get a home game. That means the people who work at the stadium may not earn money and all of those, the ripple effect of that.
Agreed.
There is a neutral third party who sits up there and keeps an eye on the field and watches players for concussion symptoms and can come running down on the field and say, it happened in one of the games yesterday or Sunday. She came down and she's like, I need a coach and I need to talk to this player and we need to evaluate him right now. And then I'll let you know if you can continue the game or if he needs to go away. There's a third party doing that. Why can't there be a third party looking over at what the refs are doing and talking to them in their headsets? There was a tripping call in the Dallas Lions game and they called it on the wrong team.
They called it on the wrong
They called it on the player on the wrong team and penalized the wrong team. And dude up in that thing would have been, no, wrong player, other team, fix it. Like,
Good point.
I don't think it would add that much more time to it. And I think it's a step in the right direction because you can't fix these.
Right.
And when you only have 17 games, I don't care if these officials never do another game. I don't care if you fine them or whatever.
Right.
There's no way to fix the situation after on Monday to look back. You can't give them a win.
So,
But we go back to New York, though, don't we? Didn't you remember that one play? It was a couple weeks ago where New York made the call to eject the guy because he punched the guy. It was New York's call came in and said nope, and then the commentator said that call came in from New York that he's getting ejected. That's kind of the same thing. I mean,
it is. I think that the New York guys look for more egregious things like that than necessarily the stuff in between. And
that was on the sidelines, right? That wasn't on the field during the game.
Yes, it was after. Yeah.
So I think there are probably the way there are rules on what's reviewable. There are probably rules and guidelines on what New York can step in, and
that's clearly one of them.
Right. And like I showed Sue's comment, yes, they're human, but they're also paid officials who need to be doing their job. Agreed. And that's where the whole full-time thing comes in. There's, I don't know, you guys. So Sonia, I want to go back to you. I want to know, do you think that this derailed this team? They're doing so well and we're so proud of the Lions this year. Everybody is. Do you think that this just maybe fueled their fire or derailed them?
Fueled it. I think Campbell had a press conference, I want to say Monday, and he was like, he's like, I'm octane right now. He's like, this just is firing us up. We're moving on and we are like focused, even more so, focused. I don't think this derailed them at all. In years past, would it have? Of course.
Yeah.
But Dan's got this team really focused and really, polished and ready to go. He's got his balls of steel.
Guys, this team's playing with a chip on its shoulder already, and this chip just got bigger.
Yeah, it did.
Exactly.
I'll see you in the Super Bowl, Sonia. Our two winless teams are going to have the rebound story of the century. It's going to be Browns Lions Super Bowl, ladies.
That's super cute. I like that. Listen,
I'll have what she's drinking.
I'd rather that than the Niners, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right. So let's move on to our next subject. We're going to talk about some playoff scenarios. We're going to run through them really quick. There's a few teams that can clinch this week. There's a few teams that need some help. There's a few teams that are already there. And so Kate's going to run through that real quick with us, so we can kind of real quick. It is real quick. That's what I'm saying to you right now, Kate. All right, Kate, go ahead.
There's just so much. With 1 week left, there is so much going on. I will say, in the AFC West, Kansas City's in, everyone else is out. Right?
Yeah.
In the NFC East, Philly and Dallas are in, everyone else is out. There are still scenarios where one wins the division and one, but they're both in. So I'm not going to bother with those. The difficult thing, one of the difficult ones, is the AFC East.
Okay.
So Jets and Patriots are both out. Miami is in regardless. Buffalo is only in if they win.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not win, they need like 20 losses and ties and all kinds of other things to happen. So, that's one of the strange ones, because with a lot of these people, if you win, you're in, and otherwise you're, Jacksonville. If they win the AFC South, and they're fine. But that entire AFC South is like 9-7 or something ridiculous. So Indy and
they're all
Houston
8-9
still
or
have
something.
chances to get in. Pittsburgh is the one that gets me. But okay, Pittsburgh cannot win on their own and get in. They have to win, but then they need some losses to happen. And I'm ignoring all the tie scenarios, y'all. If you throw ties, if anybody has the courage to tie this weekend, I will personally hunt them down because it just messes up everything. So if Pittsburgh wins, they need either a Buffalo loss, a Jacksonville loss, or a Denver win and a Houston or Indy win to get in. Like, there's a whole lot of other things that have to happen. They do not control their destiny. Buffalo does. Jacksonville does. Tampa Bay. Can we talk about the NFC South?
Oh my God.
If Tampa Bay wins, they're in. They own the tiebreaker. We're all good.
Right.
If they lose, then if New Orleans wins, they still need a Seattle loss and a Green Bay loss to get in. If Atlanta wins, they just need Tampa Bay to lose. So, like, that division is a hot mess. Yep. And then in Sonia's division, Minnesota still has a shot. But again, they're like Pittsburgh. If they win, they need 3 other teams to lose. For Minnesota to get in, they need Green Bay and Seattle to lose, and then either Tampa Bay or New Orleans. Like, some of these teams are like, you can win, but you need 6 other people to lose.
Yeah,
crazy.
Oh, Green Bay plays Chicago.
Yes.
I'm not putting anything past Chicago. Man, they are looking good.
And they're out of it, but they are playing with all kinds of chutzpah right now. I like what they're doing. So we got a couple teams who control their own destiny, but it's just I've got 3 pages and I got rid of the ties. I have 3 pages where I was writing out all the divisions and all the scenarios.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, there's only like 4 teams left. And then when I start looking at it, I'm like, oh, they can shuffle all over the place, which is, again, the NFL and its ultimate brilliance. Every matchup this weekend is a divisional matchup, and they all matter to somebody, except I believe there's one that doesn't matter to anybody. The New York Jets play the New York Patriots. And that game means nothing to anybody. No. And that's the game that I would have put that officiating crew on, frankly.
For sure.
They should have to not only watch that game, they should have to watch that game.
Graham says Buffalo could be 2-6 or out on Sunday. I've never known a scenario like it. It's so true. And that, I think, and I would love to know, Lisa, what you think about this. That shows to me the absolute and total inconsistency of the NFL this year. Absolutely. Everyone was so mediocre. They're all still in it. And
everybody suffered lumps, right? Everybody seemed like they went through a little bit of even Detroit, remember? It was like, we were on high on Detroit and we talked on the show and then, okay. San Francisco's the best
Sonia
team.
asked us to quit talking about them on the show.
Right. And then zoom, they went out. We praised the Buffalo Bills. Next thing you know, they're all in hot messes. We're talking about 9/11 terrorists and coordinations and I mean, it was like, and now Philadelphia, they were the best. I mean, it's crazy year for us even here because every team we try to say, okay, I think they're the best. They just tanked the next week. It was just amazing how, and it's bizarre because it's got to be matchups. It's got to be teams that just have their numbers and stuff like that because we've always played the Ravens crappy. We've always have. We have played bad on prime time this whole season. Now we got flexed to prime time. We have all Kate scenarios of everything. The Buffalo Bills will know their fate before they even play because all those scenarios, Kate, that you just said, they're going to know because they got the last game of the
But they have to win.
But they have to win, exactly. But they'll know that if they even lose, they still might be in because of all the scenarios that just happened.
So those are the 3 games that were flexed. The very last game of the regular season is Miami Buffalo, Sunday night at 8:00.
Yes.
The Saturday weekend starts with Indianapolis versus Houston, which will decide the AFC.
That's huge, and
that's huge.
We talked
for
about
teams
that
are 9-7. It's like, how does this game matter? Oh, it matters. And Pittsburgh, Baltimore. And I thought it was interesting that while there are a lot of scenarios in the NFC, none of them were big enough that they got flexed.
Yeah,
all 3 of the flex games were
because
AFC
we've only had like a couple powerhouses in the NFC go, and then you can't even get me started on the quarterback carousel. Good Lord.
Joe
I mean, I
Flacco.
can't even
Oh, I
begin.
gotta say.
I was reading it all of it, and I'm just like, wow, like 12 teams are on different quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Like 9 of them are on their third string quarterbacks
Yeah.
because the second strings either got benched or you're on 4,
Mhm.
right? They said your
Yeah.
eyes on a 4.
Yep.
And the Jets are
Pittsburgh's on
getting
3, we're on
absolutely roasted
4.
for Flacco
Yeah,
because everybody in New York wants to know where was this Flacco when he was the backup for the Jets?
Who was he throwing to when he was a backup for the Jets?
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Let me
but
explain
they
Joe
had,
Flacco. Joe Flacco is a very methodical, play-oriented quarterback. If you're supposed to go up to here and over here, he is throwing that ball there. You better be there, which is why he throws interceptions. Because if you get slowed down, you're not there. He don't care. That's where he's throwing the ball. And the Amari Cooper trade that we did is what is made Joe Flacco what he is. He doesn't develop chemistry with the receiver. He can't look and adjust to where he is. And our run game is strong enough that the play action pass is his bread and butter. Right. He is too mechanical to adjust on the fly to things. And that's what the New York Jets needed when he was there, is someone to adjust on the fly. And that's not his game. We lucked into that. I am wacko for Flacco.
I want to just take a minute and remind everyone, if you are watching over on Facebook or Twitter, head over to our YouTube channel. You can join our group chat over there and we can post your comments and thoughts on air. We love it when people talk back to us, just like Sue. And I wanted to put Sue's pick up here again. It says Buffalo, Miami going for it, just like Lisa and I predicted week 1. And I think I remember that. I think that they would come down to the two of them.
Exactly. Yep. And that was when we saw that, I'm like, that's going to be for the AFC East. Yeah. And it was incredible. And just like I said, scenarios, it's amazing how we can fall from 2 to 6 in a matter of 4 hours.
Yep.
It's crazy. And, like I said, and Buffalo's playing but Buffalo's playing back to Buffalo Bill football to me. When you look at the last couple of games. Now their schedule was a little weak in the last, because I said, I think they had New England, then they went to the Chargers. So, they had a little bit of time to climb back, where Miami had the tougher schedule, finishing up with the Cowboys, the Ravens, and then Buffalo. But I mean, it's
those teams.
I know, right? And it's, but then again, you played the Steelers, and I had the Seahawks pegged to beat the Steelers, and then here comes Rudolph out of nowhere, third string. It's like I said, it's so bizarre this year. Just feels so weird. It's like every single
what
weekend.
Makes this weekend and the way they've scheduled it genius, because in prior years, you had teams that are like, I'm going to rest everybody. I don't care about this team I'm playing. And if they get in because they beat me, I don't care. I'm resting. These are now divisional games. Baltimore doesn't want to let Pittsburgh win. Miami is in no matter what happens. They don't want to let Buffalo in. There's a little bit of grit between all of these teams that are playing each other, and teams that if they were playing anybody else outside their division might have eased up and rested and not really cared.
And the seed thing, and everybody talked about that. It's like, I honestly didn't know how I would feel about the first seed. I don't know if I want my team's rolling. I don't want a week off.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I want to keep going.
It's the best thing for the Ravens, though, because they need to rest Lamar just a little bit. So it's interesting. I want to talk about two teams, and one in the NFC and one in the AFC that aren't meeting expectations. Let's just put it that way. And these are teams that we totally expected to kind of roll through, right? I want to start with the Eagles first. The Eagles went, let's see, what is my little stat? It's like they were before Sunday. No, this is before their game last Sunday. They were the first team to go 10-1 and then to lose 3 games in a row since 1986 New York Jets. Jeez. And then they lost again on Sunday. And so they have this interesting little record. I saw a really interesting comparison between them and the Steelers team that went like 11-0 or 11-1 a few seasons back, and how they were just kind of a paper tiger. They weren't really one that you needed to actually, when you looked at it, was work, that was something to be worried about. It's interesting to me. There's been a couple of things that have happened. So after the game, not this last Sunday, but the one before, Hurts called out his entire team, Jalen Hurts, and he said there's a lack of commitment there, which caused an uproar in their locker room. Before that, a couple weeks before that, when they were like 10-2 or something, they fired their defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, who actually had been in Seattle the year before, and before that was in Chicago. So he's bounced around to a couple of different franchises, and you kind of can see that maybe the experience there was good. They were, what 10-win team fires their DC like it was insane. And who they put in? Matt Patricia. Are you freaking kidding me? Didn't work out so well. Could have told you that. So what's interesting to me about this Eagles team is there seems to be a lot of internal turmoil. Their head coach says that they're trying to get back on track. But Sonia, I want to ask you this. Is this a team that anyone in the NFC playoffs should even be sort of worried about?
Sort of worried, yeah. I mean,
You think?
I think sort of, not 1,000%, because if their offense is going and they're going, I think they are unstoppable, and I think that is something to kind of respect and fear.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, their defense and bringing in Matt Patricia, of all people who have had issues. I mean, I know Darius Slay is out right now, but those two don't get along at all. They didn't get along in Detroit, and I have a hard time believing that they'll do that here. But he's an issue. He is the problem, really. And I think that it's toxic. It's a toxic environment right there with just those two. And so adding him to the mix is not very smart. So I think you should kind of fear him, but if their defense isn't as tight as it could be, you can do it. They can do it.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, and I don't know if you guys listen to the Kelsey Brothers podcast, is Jason Kelsey is very blunt about what's going on with his team. And they talk about it to the point where he's like, I make mistakes. This guy's making mistakes. We're making too many mistakes. There's mistakes everywhere. It almost seemed to me they got a little hubris behind them when they were doing so good and rolling. And I mean, they should. Last year they were in the Super, you know what I mean? So they've had a lot of success. On the flip side, the other Super Bowl team, the Kansas City Chiefs, struggling, confused, not looking at the Raiders. Are you freaking kidding me that the Raiders beat them? Like, I just couldn't even. And I know they won this last Sunday by the skin of their teeth. I mean, I don't know if you watched that game. I was not expecting them to actually win it halfway through. It was such a disaster. Interesting thing with the Chiefs, instead of it being a full team turmoil-y thing, it seems to me with this team, you can point out exactly what the hell's wrong with this team. They completely ignored the number one wide receiver slot position after Tyreek Hill left.
Yep.
I think Andy Reid really thought Patrick Mahomes could carry this entire team by himself without any issue. And then throw in, Travis Kelce, the other Kelce brother. Oh, well, he's fantastic. And he can do anything. And we have this dynamic duo and this great running back. Now, they do have a couple running backs that are starting to kind of come forward, but it doesn't matter. They have no one who could catch the ball. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I live in Kansas City, but I'm not a Chiefs fan. But I was watching that game. And when MVS dropped that ball at the end, I came out of my seat in that Raiders game. I lost my mind because it was just so bad and so confusing. Here's the interesting thing. I went back to look up what got Andy Reid fired in Philadelphia. And there was a whole bunch of very nice platitudes. It had run its course and it was like all sweet and everything. And there was one article that said, Andy Reid is doing in Kansas City what got him fired in Philly, and that's he ignores certain position groups. He has a tendency to focus on a couple of star players and lets other things slide. The interesting thing at the end of this article, they're like, he's not going to do it for long because he saw what happened before. And I actually believe that. I think Andy Reid is a fantastic coach. So I think it's really interesting, but I'm curious, does anyone here think that we've seen the peak of the Chiefs and now they're going to come back down to earth just a little bit?
No.
I'm trying not to blame the Taylor Swift jinx.
Don't blame Taylor Swift.
I was wondering
in any sport starts dating a Kardashian or a Taylor or somebody, and their career goes out the window. I was looking at the Eagles games.
Mm-hmm.
In any game where they score 21 points or more, they win.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 21, they lose. The exception being this week to the Cardinals. They actually put up 31 and still somehow lost to the Cardinals. It surprised me because to start the way they did, I would have expected there to be injuries, major injuries.
Mm-hmm.
When you win the way they were winning, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, who left? Who got hurt? Nobody. That's a very weird situation.
Well, Darius Slay got hurt. I mean,
Slay hurt, yeah.
But I don't know that he was carrying that team. Like Jalen Hurts is still quarterbacking. The Chiefs, I feel like that meltdown started the week that Pat Mahomes lost his mind about the Tony being over the line with the refs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a discombobulated mess.
Mm-hmm.
My husband will tell you it's because Pat Mahomes makes bad decisions with the ball, and he's gotten very lucky over the years, and he's not getting lucky anymore. I don't know if it's a luck thing, if defenses have finally figured out. I think there was a lot of intimidation. The Chiefs are a team that gets in your head, and I think kind of the mystique is gone. And I do believe the Chiefs are going to really struggle. They're going to win their division this year, but they're going to win it with 9 games, 10 games, not 13. 10. They're going to have to play on the road.
And they've never done that. That's the thing.
It's going to be on the Buffalo-Miami game because Miami might go to Kansas City.
No, I'm sorry. They're going to have to play in Baltimore. They're going to have to play in Baltimore. And Patrick Mahomes has never, ever had a road playoff game. Yep. Every AFC championship game has been at Arrowhead. And so I think that is going to be fascinating because we've seen kind of some issues there.
Well,
I just think it's going to make them uncomfortable, which is already a place they're at. You know what I mean?
And we're going after players too. Let with that. And I'm going to go back to something Sonia said early in the season on this podcast. Losing Eric Bieniemy was freaking huge. Okay. You're stuck with Matt Nagy. Okay. Let's take the players out of the scenario. When Bieniemy was there, it's a well-oiled machine. Things were running good. Yeah. I mean, I think he had things figured out. You know, he goes, in comes Matt Nagy. Boom, constant implosion. Mm-hmm. The receivers have it in their head they can't catch a ball. It's in their heads now. Yeah. It's there. I mean, I don't know how you fix that. You know, I mean, they're calling for this one kid they took just to bench him, cut him. People want him cut. They don't even want him on team. They're just like, get him, get rid of him. Because I think they got that. Once you, as a receiver, can you ever get that back if you just get that in your head? Because I mean that that ball hit him right in his hands, right in his hands, and he drops it. And even Mahomes, I mean, the confidence level is the squat. The coaching is totally different. Mm-hmm. You can see it on the field with Bieniemy gone. I personally think that is the problem. Matt Nagy, to me, is the problem.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what's going to happen. I will not write them off in the playoffs because they are still a very well-coached team. But
Mahomes an elite quarterback. Just say it.
He is, but he can't catch the ball too. Not to quote Giselle.
Oh yeah,
he can't throw
Giselle
the ball and catch it
too. You put it on the money. If they can't catch it, it's not his fault.
Exactly. All right. So for our last little topic that I wanted to talk about. Lisa, do you have anything else to say about the Bills? I wrote down the Bills.
No, like Lisa. I said, I just, I think they're back almost to be where they were. They just, like I said, they had a lot of that turmoil going. And I don't know what the Stephon Diggs things. There's still some issues going on with there. Josh Allen can have that turnover game, which we hope so. But I think the Bills are rolling. I think they're back up to where they were. So it should be a good game.
Was huge for them.
Yeah.
With Josh Allen not having to do anything, with them figuring out which other teams need to pay attention to. Dallas is built to stop the pass. If you can run the ball, which they did all to that.
He's a big guy. He's a running threat to begin with.
Yeah, but that just seemed to get them all back on the same page.
Yep, it did. All right. So for our last topic tonight, you guys, I asked each one of the ladies to come up with a coach on the hot seat because Black Monday is right around the corner, ladies and gents. It's 6 days away. And we already know a couple coaches have lost their job this offseason. However, I don't care what the ownership says. There's a couple more that are going to lose them. So I'm going to start with you, Sonia. Who is your coach that you think will be out of a job come Monday?
Robert Saleh in New York.
You think
he's out?
Get out!
Hot take! Holy crap!
Hot take on here.
Okay, I gotta hear one.
Oh, I'm writing that one down. Me next.
Why? You think that they're just going to be like, we're going to keep Aaron Rodgers, even though he's a freaking moron? Don't get me started on him. You think he's out?
I think he's out. I think the Zach Wilson, the quarterback situation, I don't think he handled it well at all. And Aaron Rodgers going down, that's one thing, but I think they just kind of had a year. And Ugh.
Damn.
If he's not fired, his seat is on fire. But I think he's gone. I think he's out.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what to do with that. I'm gonna have to think about that. Maybe.
Dang. Shocker right off the bat. I'm glad we
He
started.
put all his eggs in the crazy Aaron Rodgers
Damn,
basket.
he
Get
did.
that?
He did.
Oh, I hate Aaron Rodgers. All right, Lisa, who's up?
I think
Who's out?
Riverboat Ron's gone. I think
Yeah.
Riverboat Ron's gone from the Commanders. I think this is it for Ron. Great guy. My God. You see the interviews with him. You know, I had a chance to talk to him too at the Senior Bowl. My God, he's a great guy. But it's one of those things where you got to win. You got to produce. And I really think that this is his last hurrah. Though he's a great guy. I really, really care about Ron a lot. And he's done a lot for this game for women. And he's a huge supporter of all of us. Loved when I talked to him, loved what we do, and was just, just positive. Like, you girls, that's great for you girls. Keep going. And don't look back. And he was right. I loved talking to him, but it's sad to say it, but I just
agreed.
So I think Riverboat Ron.
Side question for you then, Lisa. Does Eric Bieniemy walk right into that head coaching job?
I think so. I really do. I honestly think so.
Yep, I do too. All right, Kate, who's yours?
I was thinking Josh McDaniels in Washington. Okay.
Arthur
Smith.
No, he's not allowed to coach in the NFL anymore. I've told you this.
As long as Taysom Hill experiment continues to live, then there's no telling what Josh McDaniels will find life somewhere else. I think that Arthur Smith's time with the Falcons is done. He's had 3 years.
Oh, okay.
They're 7. They went 7-10, 7-10. They're now 7-9. If they lose this week, they are again 7-10. They were in the Super Bowl in 2016, 2017, that where they lost to the Patriots, and then they had 10 wins and lost in the divisional round of the conference championship round to the Eagles. And then they had 4 wins the next year, fired everybody, brought in Arthur Smith. He's had 3 years. They can't get past 7 wins. This is not a difficult division to win. Right. You're not up against 10 and 12 and 13 win teams. 10 wins will get you this division. Actually, the winner will probably have 9 wins, depending on what happens this weekend. And I keep hearing from people that, his job's secure. And I don't know how it can be. Those fans are loud. They are vocal. They deserve better. And from a drafting off-season trade movement kind of a perspective, the Falcons have done nothing. And that's somebody needs to go. If it's not him, it's going to be a whole cleaning out of the front office because they're a mess in a division that really shouldn't be that difficult to take.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Right. So I have 2. Well,
okay.
1 and a sad one. So I think Mike Vrabel's done in Tennessee. I know people really like him. I know that he's a great coach, all the things, but there's just something that's not turning over there. And you can talk about the quarterbacks. You can talk about this. I don't know. I just get the feeling that that'll be the surprise one that no one really expects.
I don't know. I just read an article on that though, Dana. But you hit right on the head. But what I read was like what you just said was perfect. Everybody's like, I think he's going to be gone. I think he's a surprise. But they also said that they expect him to go right to New England.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. Oh, interesting.
Well, and if the Ohio State job is open, he may come home.
Yeah, I mean, you never know for sure.
If Harbaugh goes to the
Michigan
Chargers,
job is
which
open.
is the big hot rumor.
He's going
After
to the Chargers.
you win your
There's
national
no doubt.
championship, Sonia, he's heading to LA.
He is going to LA.
I think he's going to the Raiders. There's a whole thing.
No,
we can talk about evil Harbaugh.
He wants to California.
He wants that quarterback.
Yeah.
He wants Herbert.
I think that's interesting. So I think that Vrabel will be then. And then I do think we're going to have a couple of coaches retire this year. I think Pete will probably retire. And I think that Bill Belichick will retire for a year. I think Belichick will be back. There's been a couple of things with Seattle. Obviously, we knew he only has like a year or 2 left on his contract. He's 72 years old. We knew it was coming, right? But at the same time, there's been a couple of things he has done after games that he doesn't normally do. And after the win against the Eagles, he went out and stood on the field by himself for a long time. And he said he just needed to soak it in. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So there's just something. I know I'm going to ball like a baby. And the Seahawks fandom, they're really ready. We need change. It's time to kind of up, to modernize the team a little bit. There's going to be a lot of change in Seattle in the offseason, and I'm actually looking forward to it, to be quite honest with you. But and no, Russell Wilson is not coming back to Seattle. They would rather gouge their eyeballs out for that. But I will say this, that will break my heart when both of them go. And I think it's just because it's once again a changing of a guard. And it's going to be the same when Mike Tomlin leaves. I'm going to ball like a baby, right? Like, so I just think that's
a good point, Dana. That's a good point, because have you guys seen the talks about the Steelers are open to trade rumors with him? Is that true?
Tomlin's not going anywhere. The Rooney family has had 3 head coaches.
But if we give them, they can have Gino.
Where's Pete, by the way? Where's Peter? I haven't seen Peter in a while.
I know we haven't seen Peter for a while. But yeah, so Mr. Serrano. So anyway, that's kind of my hot take. I think we're going to couple retirements. I mean, if Pete manages to do one more season, I'd be shocked, but it's possible. Same with Bill. But I just think we're almost there, people. We're almost there.
All right. Pete in the booth. I would listen to Pete talk to me from behind a desk on Sundays, like on one of the shows.
I know.
I would not listen to Bill, because although that might be hilarious to see.
Bill's not a bad guy. Bill's not.
She's like, on his gum.
He's chomping his gum.
In a hoodie.
In a hoodie. Yeah. Oh God.
He should take that field goal.
I know.
You always take the points.
Always take the points.
Always.
All right, you guys. So before we wrap it up, I told you this was going to be a little long, but when we wrap it up, we want to congratulate the winner of the Donkeys Cup Fantasy Football League. Sonia, I'm going to apologize. You're going to have to remind me of his name.
That is okay, because I have it right here.
Woo-hoo.
I do. It's my friend Anthony. Anthony, a.k.a. the land is the place to be on Twitter. He joined our league this year, and he was only in first place for a couple weeks, right, Graham? And he took that and won our Donkeys Cup. So congratulations to you, Anthony. Your trophy will be out in the mail very, very soon.
Tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
and then the OG league
isn't allowed to be on the show anymore, because she won our turf league.
She just won because I wasn't there.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, Michelle.
Michelle won. We have an OG all-girls fantasy football league that we've had for 13 years now.
Yep.
Then Michelle kicked the crap out of everybody this year. Thank you very much.
Knocked me out the playoffs last week, and then
well, I never even got that far.
She's just lucky duck. That's all I got to say.
All righty,
lucky I live on a farm.
Oh my God. That is our show for this week, everybody. We will be back again next week. We are going to talk about the playoffs. We are going to talk about the coaches that are fired. We're going to talk about all of it. It's going to all get thrown at you next Tuesday as I cannot believe it, wrap up the 2023 regular season and head into what could be a crazy playoff season for the NFL. So we hope you guys will join us. Again, you can watch us live on Facebook. You can watch us live on YouTube and, of course, on Twitter. If you follow us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe and like button and so that you know when we go live. Thanks for everyone hanging out with us tonight. Good night.
Just be careful.